There's something about acting for some people. This is the point. There's something about acting for some people that is a salvation, that is a religion, that is worthwhile, that is the only thing to do. And when I was 16, I left home. It was legal. You couldn't be stopped from leaving home when you were 16 in England. And I lied about my age to theatre companies. I said I was 18. And they thought, well, if he's 18, he could play 20. And I got a job with the Castle Theatre Farnham, was just opening, little theatre 60 miles to the south of London, the Castle Theatre Farnham. In those days, there was a fashion, a tradition amongst actors that if you were doing weekly rep, a different play every week, so you were rehearsing a play in the daytimes to play the next week, and in the evenings you were playing a play which you'd rehearsed the previous week. And it was a tradition that some actors would not put their scripts down until the first night, until the first performance. And I was new to the company. I knew nothing about acting. I'd probably told them I'd done some amateur stuff or something. And anyway, so I did this thing. I had 2 lines in the play, and I kept my script in my hand all my time. And on the first night, I went on stage and I opened my mouth and nothing happened. And they had to come on, I think they had to come on and take me off. I mean, I just didn't even know you had to learn the lines. I didn't know anything when I started. I was that stupid, if you like. I had to wash my hair for the first night. I had to dry my hair quickly for the first night. So I turned the 4 lights on a gas oven, so that used for cooking backstage, and I lit them all, and I held my head over. My hair caught fire, and I mean I've just complete idiot. And they said to me the next day, "Look, I'm terribly sorry, John. We really have to give you 2 weeks' notice, but during those 2 weeks' notice, you have to join the union, because you've started with a theatre company." So I said, "Oh, okay." So suddenly I was a member of the union and I was able to get into another theatre company. And the next theatre company, God knows how I got the job, but there were less actors around, I was tall, I looked good. I didn't know I was terrible, so I probably looked terribly confident at auditions. And I remember on the first night, the director came to me backstage. This is true. And he said to me, this was a play called, I think it's called Kind Sir or Dear Sir, of which the American film star Cary Grant had made a film called Indiscreet. Now, I knew this when I was 16, and I had watched the film several times, and I was copying Cary Grant's impersonation. And I went on stage on the first night and did my performance, and the director came to me afterwards, and these actual words were, "John, it just didn't cross my mind that you were going to do what you did on stage tonight, because I thought you were holding your performance back till the first performance. I mean, it's just doesn't mean anything. It's just completely wrong. What are you doing?" So I sat there and I thought, oh, okay, I haven't done something. It didn't occur to me that this was a disaster, or that it meant that my career was over, or that I should throw myself in the sea. I just thought, oh, okay. And what's so wonderful about the story is that the director was as stupid as me, more or less, because his solution to the problem, and this is in England where the unions are different, so it doesn't matter how bad you are, you can't be sacked. As I've said before, you can kill the director's mother and they can't sack you. They might take you to court, depending on how the director feels about his mother, but they can't sack you. And similarly in England, if you get a better paid job, you can't leave the company. Your contract is fixed. So I was fixed with this company, so they had to keep me for 6 months to do 25 plays in 6 months. And And the director, wonderfully, he was stupider than me, because what he said was, he said, "Do you know this actor?" And he named some actor that I'd never heard of. And he said, "Well, he did the play in the West End." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he said, "Now, I'll do an impersonation of him, and you copy my impersonation of him, and do that tomorrow night." So this wasn't a very sophisticated theatre company. The method wasn't very developed. And this went on. And of course, at the end of 6 months, I was thrown out with the speed of an atomic bomb, and only to join another theatre company, because I'd been working there. And then around about that time, I tried to get into RADA. No, I wasn't astonished when I didn't get in. I just thought, oh, okay, I didn't get in. And they sent me a letter saying, "Come back again in 2 years." So I thought, okay. And I'd done some awful monologue that I'd written myself, which was just nonsensical and presumably to be or not to be, probably. And anyway, 2 years later I went along, and by then some famous actor who knew me, God knows why, sent them a letter saying that they should admit me, and I got in to RADA. In that time, I learnt really two things, but mainly one. I had one teacher who taught me one afternoon one thing that just hit me like I don't know what word to use. It was stronger than a virus. It stuck inside me. It was me. It was something I could do that I understood, that was new to me. I realized the particular kind of part I could play. Actually, oddly enough, in my first 25 weeks, I played a butler one night in one small part. They always gave me very small parts. In plays in those days in England, and this is part of the long story, but it's an interesting story about the past, things that people don't know. They used to write plays with a very small part in them, so that the person playing that part could understudy one of the other parts. It was why it was written that way. It was madness. Not exactly sophisticated writing. Anyway, and I had to play the butler, and I just had to say on the phone, "Yes, sir? Yes, sir? Yes, sir? No, sir." And the audience laughed. And I was told I was good in it. And I thought, oh, okay, how did that happen? And I realized there was a certain kind of what you would now think is Hugh Grant character that I could play, perhaps. And when I went to RADA, I learnt that in spades. I just learned how to, what that kind of mad, arrogant, stupid, self-congratulating person was. I learned it a bit. And so I got jobs, and I left RADA and I got lots of jobs, and I worked in theatre all over the place, and eventually things happened, had some bits of success. I was in work. But I had a lot of problems of being bad in other things and not really understanding what I was doing, although I had some extremely good teachers. At various points I kept going to class. I dimly realised I had to learn how to act right the way through my 20s and 30s. In my 40s I started going to Meisner classes. A lot. With people who'd been taught by Sandy personally. Good people. Not that I'm saying, well, they were good people. And then I moved to America 12 years ago. Now, what is the point of this story? The point of this story is leading up to the next video. And it's that I discovered there's a kind of part all the way through those years. Despite not having a huge success as an actor, it was a part that, even thinking about it, thrilled me. It just made me know that there was something I could do that not too many other actors could do. Sorry to sound proud. I was called Best Actor in New York in some newspaper in 2007, and various other people were nice about my work, and I got called back to work with some theatre companies in New York. But there was this one thing, and what I'm getting at in this story, not clear at all, that all the way through of wanting to become an actor, it wasn't just that I wanted to become an actor, it was that there was something I wanted to do. There was a kind of confidence, a kind of authority, a kind of growing up, a kind of power, a kind of adulthood, a kind of achievement that I'd seen people do when I was a kid, when I went to the theatre. And I wanted that. And I was gradually getting it, slightly. I've still got a way to go. The next show I'm going to do later this year or at the beginning of the following year will be my next effort in that. But the fun of finding something that you like acting, that you know is something you want to do, that you know it's a part you want to play. The excitement of knowing that you've got the part you want. Who cares if you're a success or you're doing it to an audience of 100 in some little off-Broadway theatre, instead of to some millions of people in some big film? Who cares? What's the difference? Not a lot. Is that true? I don't know. But to just find something that you really, really want, that part, and work at that. Anyway. The point of this video is that in the next one, I'm going to be working on a monologue and discussing how we can work on something and want to make it in every detail as right as possible because we want it. Thank you for watching.